Well, hopefully you've watched part one where I took the starter motor apart, and this is part two where I put it back together. So we've got everything here, so we'll get straight started. So everything's all cleaned up, as you can see. Look at the difference on all these parts here, lovely. That case in there looks fantastic, that now. Actually you can probably make out, there you go, there's the Bosch part number, and you can see somewhere, there we go, made in 2002, 19th of March 2002. Oh, at 20 to 7 in the evening, there we go. So yeah, all nicely done. So the first job is to get this crescent moon back on here. And can I apologise for the shadows in the first video? I didn't realise just how much of an effect the sun would have, so I've come into the shade for this. So make sure this plate's down, and then this clip will fit just in that gap just there, and it will hold the plate down onto the plastic part. And you just need something fairly blunt but sturdy. So I just use this socket extension. Probably best not to use a screwdriver, because if it slips you'll shove it through your finger. So that bit's on there. Then the next bit, I've just put a tiny bit of silicone lubricant, just a little squirt in there and in there, just on this part, just here. So that's silent now. This section here now is ready to put back into the main housing, back into here. And all you need to look for on here, you see you got this lip going round, and then there's a gap just here. Okay, so you make sure the gap, sorry, this gap here, so you make sure this gap is in line here, and you'll see why in a sec. Oh, before you put it in, just get the plunger just there and get that hooked on. And you just kind of hold it all in line. Move that in position just there, and that slots down. Okay, and that's ready to go there. Then you just get this seal. And this seal only goes one way. See the raised part, that goes in that way, just there. And just make sure that sits down nicely. Perfect. Okay, so for the gears now, where's my new, well not new, but this is my clean outer gear. There's no wrong way for this, it can fit in that way or the other way around. There's no difference there. So that fits on there. Then you get these rubber stoppers, so make sure you just centre the pin, and then the rubber stoppers just fit on like that, 3 of those. And these can go either way up on this motor anyway. Okay, so before I put the planetary gears back on, I've just got some clipper oil. Like I say, you can improvise with whatever you want really. I'm just going to put just a dot of oil just on top of those pins there. And on here, the planetary gears, let's just move that out of the way, see if we can get a focus. There is writing on it. Yeah, the camera can't make it out, but not to worry. So there's writing on it, and have the writing facing upwards. There we go. Just give it a little up and down. Just going to put the gears on there. And these gears are actually made by Inner, and when I did the timing belt on my car, animate the timing pulleys. So if inner is good enough for Bosch, then it's good enough for me. So that's that there. Then we've got the cover. Okay. Now the cover, you just line up these holes just here. Where are we? That's it. And it should fit flush like that. Okay. See how it fits just nicely like that on top. Then the next part is I'm going to put the motor and the brush pack back on using the new brushes. We've got the new brush pack just here, fits face down, pop it in place and then a quick snap down, take that away and that's that done. And what we'll do is we'll put the lid back on. Spin that around. There we go. And so we need the small shim to go back on. And then the larger crescent moon one just there. Okay, and then I've just got my pot of grease just here. Just going to get a little scoop and just, I'm not saying I'll cake it on, but a reasonably generous amount onto here. Just fill in all the gaps just there. Make sure that shim doesn't come out because it gets difficult to see. There we go. Now one bit that you didn't see earlier was this little washer. Make sure you don't lose that, okay, when you're taking it apart. And so I'll pop the little washer just over there. Just give it a wiggle. There we go. And then you just turn this until you can see the holes line up. See, there we go. So it only goes one way. And then just a couple of Phillips head screws that we removed earlier. Just put those back in. And I'll tighten those up. And then I've just put a small spray of white lithium grease just on the cogs, just here, and just at the bottom, just there. Excellent. Now this can go back into the main starter body, so look for the cutout just there. And then match it up with here, make sure that's in place there. Don't let it snap back into position, just gently, because it's very strong magnets. Just let it ease in, you'll feel the magnetic pull. Ooh, nearly trapped my finger. There we go. And see this seal, make sure it sits nicely. See, it's just caught up on the lip, just there. That's it. And just push it in. And if it's right, it should sit nicely once all the bolts are done back up. So that's sitting okay there. Just missing a bit of grease on this cog. Okay, so that's all greased up, ready to go. So I can put that back in here. Once again, it's all made easy for you. Look out for the cutout, and the cutout goes on the inside, just there, and it should all marry up. And it should sit in position. Might just need to see how that goes down there, but then it pops it up there, and all you do is you just do a bit of jigging around and it will go. It's just when the cogs just don't quite sit in place. There we go, that's gone together and that's still sitting okay there. So all I'll do now is pop these bolts back in and get that all back into position. Okay, so these are tightened down now, so just double check when you do this, make sure it's closed up that gap. Make sure this seal isn't pinched and it goes through nicely. No edges pulled down. Make sure there's no gap at the bottom. And remember that seal we put in earlier, make sure it's sitting behind that seal. There we go. So that blocks off any dirt access there. And before you put the body on, just double check this is still hooked on, otherwise you've got to take it apart just to put it back on. Okay, as you can see there, that's moving nicely. Right, so it's just now to put the solenoid back on. So we'll get the spring, pop it in there. With the solenoid, it only goes one way. If you do clean this up, I've given this a bit of a clean up. Don't clean up that bit there, really, because the gaps help you, the dirt marks help you line it up. So the big fat dirt mark goes against the body there. So fat dirt mark onto there. Then you'll just line up your holes. Make sure it sits nicely. And you just put those T25s back into the solenoid and screw that back together. And we're nearly done. All that's left now is to connect up the electrical connection just here. So you just put that wire onto there, and you find the washer and the 13mm bolt, and you get that on and get that tightened up. And that is your starter motor refurbished, cleaned, put back together, looking great and all ready for testing.